Welcome to Tapestry Feminine Collective Podcast. Join us as we weave a new legacy of feminine leadership with voices from visionary women around the world. I'm your host, Arlia Hoffman. Welcome back to Tapestry. I'm Arlia and I'm with Jacqueline Robinson, and we've been talking about sisterhood, the strong connections that are available to build with each other in sacred community, and what it looks like to create such a space to make it feasible for you to even really do that, to create a safe space where you feel the ability to be vulnerable, the willingness, and the courage it takes to walk that edge of opening yourself up to learning to trust other women and really owning your own felt experience and honoring that. And there's so much there. There's so much available there. And it does take some courage. But what Jacqueline and I have just been talking about is that the payoff for opening that, we'll call it a Pandora's box, is incalculable. You cannot put a quantifier on what can happen when you're willing to do that. What's been your experience, Jacqueline?
Oh gosh, for me, I'm just going to drop right into it. For me personally, the experience has been coming from a place where women were not uplifted. Women could not be trusted. Women were always up for discussion based on how she dressed or how she spoke or how she behaved. That was the roots of my understanding and my engagement with women from a young age. And I lived that going into experiences where I couldn't own my woman. I couldn't find the courage. I couldn't stand up. And in those moments, the outcome became more separation from women. Full circle to where I am in my life now, having cleared a lot of that, having by choice and by divine calling to obedience, moved through so many of those layers of how we've experienced, first of all, ourselves. Because if we're nitpicking another woman, you can bet we're nitpicking in here. And so our relationship with women is really a beautiful gauge of where we are with our relationship of who we are as women. Mm-hmm. And so my experience coming full circle and being in a space with women who choose to be there, who want to be in communion with other women, and who are coming together in a sacred space and with positive intention is, I'll first just describe it in how it feels in my body. In my body, it feels spacious. It feels like anything is possible. And not, as you said, I'm not talking about up here in the air, I'm floating around and everything nirvana. I'm talking about grounded, boots on the ground, women who each come with their own gifts, their own ability to have impact, to move, to birth in the world. And when I have been in a space created on purpose with those women, it's like getting brand new Energizer batteries and putting them in my system. And it feels, I don't know if women who are listening are familiar with the Sushumna, but I'll just quickly say the Sushumna is like this channel of light right in the center of our bodies from root to crown. And when I am in a space with women in this way, that is lit and it just feels like it's beaming. I'm only talking from the inside out. I'm not even talking yet about the impact in my life, which Tapestry birthed, given to me. I brought it to my women and I created a virtual experience last year. My women, and some are the same women, some are different women, this year are creating an in-person experience, all of us, from that central, beautiful channel of owning who we are, where we've come from, having navigated the years of, okay, this is going to need a little attention from me. Okay, I'm in this space with women. I feel this. Maybe she's this more than me. Maybe she's this. Maybe I'm not. And really, we spoke recently that women coming together is about the ability to feel, allowing ourselves to feel all the sensations so deeply that the ones that don't belong can't stay. And that doesn't mean we have to work at it, or we have to go find it, or we have to go do inner child healing. For me, it has meant being in proximity, feeling what senses as disruption, witnessing side by side the thread of what my relationship to women was rooted in, and what I have had the courage to choose and birth and remember for myself. That has been life-changing. The quality of women in my world, the relationships that we have that don't have to be babysat, that just have such profound integrity in the connection itself, that I trust it.
Yep.
And I think for lifetimes as women, especially women who have claimed our journey and chosen to not, my words are stand in our power, but I want to differentiate, because often when we say that in relationship to women, the visual, the sensation that first comes is a hard woman setting our boundaries, being strong, being clear, not accepting anything less, and she becomes a bit of an untouchable character, that you don't see her heart. You don't feel her warmth. I'm talking about the kind of feminine power where we don't have to close the heart to be in our power. We can keep the heart open, and that light turns on, and we feel the intensity and the potency of being woman. I'm talking about that power. And to then, with that turned on, choose to sit in space with other women, also with their power light turned on, is profound. What have I experienced from it? More clarity in my business, deeper intimacy in my marriage. Women I know have my back, instead of always feeling like if I am vulnerable, if I am intimate, eventually that's going to turn and become betrayal. And we've all lived that. These are women who can hold their center. And so they don't have to hold yours, and they don't have to dismantle it.
I'm going to stop you right there, because that's so essential. To inhabit your own energy and your own channel of light is to own all of who you are, and to trust that it's one of the foundations of Temple and Tapestry is that we agree that we will all do that together. So that I'm not projecting all of whatever's happening in me onto you. I know it's happening inside of me, and I'm willing to be with myself and as that happens and ground myself and in some ways mind my own business and to be able to know to the best of our ability, I'm doing that and all the women here are doing that as well with their own selves so that we're not creating a mental an illusory mental drama about what's happening around us.
Yes.
We are all grounded in this body, this experience, these feelings, and we allow, and because we can honor our own container, we can honor the container of all the women around us. And that cuts through a lot of the drama that we've come to expect in the world around relationships between women. That cuts out a great deal of it and leads us into this. The potential then is to really experience that deeper river, that deeper flow of beauty and love and harmony, in the sense that feeling the vibration that connects all of us. It's a container that makes that much more easily to drop into and access. And then from then the sky's the limit, right? Because we have the potential to tap into all of that for ourselves and with each other.
Yes.
And so if I own my journey and you're owning yours, I can see my own beauty. But then when I look at you, I'm like, whoa, look at her. Look what she has, what her light is beaming, the quality of who she is, what's particularly unique about her. It helps us take the scales off of seeing ourselves and seeing the women in front of us.
Yes. Yes. And I would expand on that, each woman holding herself. And you said for yourself, you're speaking in that energy, and I'm sitting here really minding my business. And I want to expand on that piece and say, yes, she is sitting, and I know exactly what you mean, minding my business as in, I have this happening, and maybe I've come into this space and the mind chatter starts about why I'm not good enough or why I don't belong here or
why is she
the way
looking
that
at
she
me?
dressed.
Or why isn't she looking at me?
Exactly. Both things happen.
Yeah.
And the minding my own business is staying right here and choosing what to do with that back talk going on in the background, number one. And number two, just because a woman shows up and has the ability to do that does not mean she is not open to connecting with the other women, being supported in where she is, or being celebrated and honored where she is. It goes both ways. It's not just, okay, when I'm struggling, I have to do it by myself. No. Own what is yours to own. And when you share or ask another woman to walk beside you, know that you're owning it and speak to her as an invitation and or receive her offering to be with you and to see you. That's a different animal than, I'm struggling, I don't know what to do, can you please tell me? Or can you fix it? Or can you sit down while I bitch about it? A friend of mine recently said, let's have a bitch medicine session. And I knew what it meant because of the integrity of this woman. She was saying, listen, you have full permission to say what's going on. And it's not just going to be a bitch. It's going to be say what's going on, bitch if you need to. And we're going to evolve that into honest truth about what's here, which is what I asked for. I wanted that reflection. So I stayed holding me, and I wanted to hear reflection, and I wanted to share what I was feeling. She stayed in her, I stayed in me. Communion happened between the two of us. So I just want women to understand that holding yourself, minding your business, being I don't always like that word, responsible. You could hear it choking coming out of my mouth, but I think it's been misused. And in this case, what I mean is, I'm this woman having this experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay with her and not be like, oh, this is a terrible experience, I don't like it, and
I
could
shouldn't be
you,
doing it this way.
yeah, I shouldn't be feeling this, I should be over, I should have blah, blah, blah. Instead, I'm this woman having this experience, and I would love you and your experience, even if you're just in the same room with me.
Yeah.
There, and we're not talking about just being in the same room. We're talking about true depth and communion and engagement, and just coming into the same space together, even before a word is said. Every woman in that room is going to have her senses turned on high, is going to be feeling things, is going to be hearing the dialogue, is going to have moments of uncertainty, exposure, vulnerability, and then courage and choosing and owning and being seen and thriving and coming alive in the experience of it. Coming full circle to our first conversation that we had in all of this, we talked about the elders. I recently read a book called Iron John out loud for me. I wanted to read it for me and my husband and some friends of ours. And in that book, it's talking about, I'm going to define it, these are my words, the lost power of being man, male, masculine. And one of the pieces it spoke to that I know is true for women also is that young boys learn what it is to be a man. We're not even counting anything their dad teaches them, just by being in his presence.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when dad worked from home, he was a farmer or a blacksmith or whatever he happened to do, the boy was with him. And he watched how his dad engaged the world, how his dad did business, what his dad's work was. So he knew all of that. And that's how he learned what it was to be male and masculine and a man. Proximity, absorbing. The same is true for us as women. Not that we're learning, we're not children, but who we are as women, and that coming more alive in us happens by being in proximity. And in that, there's the elders, and there's the younger women, and there's the teachers, and the writers, and the artists, and the healers, and the businesswomen, and the mothers, and the grandmothers, and all of those women come together and create this beautiful tapestry of being woman, of feminine energy that serves us now,
Mm-hmm.
and begins to weave these threads through the generations to come. And I'll tell you, the most profound moment in the last year of my life, when it comes to seeing the impact of how I engage being woman and have made changes in my life. And I was watching my daughter walk down the aisle and get married, and not because it was the wedding, because I watched her from the point of engagement evolve into a different stage of woman, to planning the wedding, evolve into a different stage of woman, to getting married, evolve into a different stage of woman. And that's intimately connected to exactly what we're doing here and talking about. That's a side effect of the choosing to cross the threshold and be in feminine communion.
Yes. And the power of that mirror, that physical proximity, the mirror of those other powerful women with you. We can't even truly define the impact of that on ourselves and on our futures. So we know that's going to be revolutionary, as you say.
Yes. Yes. And I feel like watching her now, to bring it up close and personal, I feel like watching her and seeing how my daughter does it is so different than me. The way that I didn't even think of this until now, like her girls, her women, she's furious if one of them betrays another. She's furious if they betray themselves. This is another piece of why we do what we do for the daughters and the granddaughters and the women to come, because they will know something different.
Let's talk about this extraordinary event that we've been alluding to, and that really promises that kind of intimacy and transformation for women. Can you give us details?
I can give you some details. Some will be shared over time and others will be kept very, what's that word? I can't think of it. It's not exclusive, but the word went proprietary maybe,
Secret?
But that's not quite it. Secret was my first word, and you know I love secrets. It is really all coming together so beautifully this year in November, and Tapestry happens around 11/11. So on, I believe it's Thursday, November 7th, women will gather. We will experience your exquisite temple practice to really open us into deeper communion. We'll have all day Friday with a number of different active and ritual and deepening and connecting and engaging. We're weaving in all the things that women would love. And then Saturday, we'll have a little bit of time in the morning, and Saturday evening, we will complete with a gorgeous full dinner, dance floor, fabulous time, dressed to the nines, gala just for women. And all of this sounds beautiful and fun, and it is intentionally designed as a transformative experience, an initiation, and an opening into her next expansion. Mm-hmm. As a woman, as a feminine leader, perhaps as a business owner, as an artist and creative, as a mystic, whatever it may be, it's multifaceted and it's a game changer. And you will meet your edge.
Game changer for sure. I cannot wait. I just cannot wait. This is going to be an extraordinary event. I'm so excited about it.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. And for a small number of women who choose, I'm actually opening my home on Sunday. Ooh. And it will be even more intimate. That will be for 8 to 11 women. We'll see.
That sounds delicious. Jacqueline, thank you for joining me on this series, Tapestry About Sisterhood. It is what we're about. It's about what you're about, and really providing ways for women to really step into the fullness of who they are and live their calling, whatever that is, in the most expansive way. Live alive. That's
yes.
It.
Yes.
The time is now. This is
now.
the time to be doing it, to be being it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And there are a number of reasons for that. Energetically, cosmically, on our planet also, the time is now. Do it now. If you're at all a yes, do it now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. This has been Tapestry Feminine Collective Podcast, and we will see you in November.
See you in November.
Thank you for joining us. Visit tapestryfemininecollective.com for more information about events and all our podcast episodes. We'll see you soon.